New on Curiosity Stream. She was a loving wife, a devoted mother. She also stole atomic secrets and gave them to the Soviets. Meet the woman whose deception kick-started the Cold War on the spy who stole the atom bomb. And
what if they catch you?
Then I shall be shot.
They're coming! Come back!
relive history's most death-defying escapes. It's Impossible Escapes, Civil War. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit CuriosityStream.com.
Well, great balls of fire, Bubba. What happened, Buford? That crazy son of a Sal blew right through that four-way stop on Main Street and plowed into my cowboy Cadillac.
Your what?
My pickup truck. And I'm pretty sure my leg is broken, Ted.
Oh, quit your bitching, Buford, and talk with those side busters at the Advocates Law Firm. When I got busted up last month, well, shoot, they made sure those snakes at the insurance company played fair.
Boy, howdy. Even that creepy so-and-so Kyle earned his keep.
So if you get injured, the advocates get results. AdvocatesLaw.com.
Hey, Ola, it's Miles. Thank you guys for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast.
Have you heard our newest podcast? It's called The Greatest Story Never Told.
Download it today on radio.com. Be sure to subscribe. New episodes are uploaded every Tuesday at noon.
Unfortunately, what you're about to hear is real. The members of this radio program are simply not that bright, or what some people would call educated. They are merely stupid. They're not trying to offend anyone on purpose. And all have played doctors on TV. You have been warned and are cordially invited to join the party. This is the Men's Room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
This is the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. You know what they say, shake your radio more than 3 times, and you're playing with it. You're listening to the Men's Room.
And away we go. Welcome to Season 16, episode number 3422. Along with Steve the Thrill Hill, the Ted Smith, and Mike Hawk. Hey, Jew, hard the Men's Room. On tap today, the return of Who Sucks Less. We will play Profile This. Plus headlines, the Men's Room Shot of the Day, fun with listener emails, and everyone's favorite TV Time with Ted.
Clack, clack, drinking a jar.
All right, here we go. Virginia prison employee fired after body scan revealed it was just that time of the month. Meanwhile, a man who writes rhymes can't find any in the English language that rhyme with month. There's not a one. Steve says a gunth, but that's
it's a gunth. It sounds dirty, but it can't be a thing.
What a great gunth. Landlord ties up evicted sleeping tenants and dumps them in a cemetery nearby. 3 London police officers sprint down the street chasing an unmasked naked type guy. And a man gets into an argument with a woman in a parking lot, so he spray paints her face. That is all coming on today's very special episode of The Men's Room.
And now, here's the question.
Hola, bitches. Good day to you and yours. All right, there was a landslide near Genoa, Italy. Now, living here in the Pacific Northwest, landslides, especially this time of the year, not that unusual of an event. However, this Italian landslide is different because about 200 corpse-filled coffins emptied out of their seaside cemetery plunged 160 feet into the Mediterranean, where they're floating and freaking people out. Meanwhile, the cyclone passed through the waters off the coast of Mozambique. And what did the storm leave behind? Well, much to the surprise of everyone, 86 dead dolphins all over the beach. And a little closer to home, a woman in Florida. She was playing fetch with her dog on the beach until a bull shark attacked her dog. Now, you just never know what might be in the water. You hear that all the time, but let's face it, sometimes you do know what's in the water, and you're not happy about it. A family in China has to pay $2,400 in fines because their 7-month-old kid pooped in the public pool. And it's not cool, but let's face it, kids are known to poop in pools. What's strange is when someone breaks into a closed pool just to poop in it. A naked man in Arkansas did precisely that. Police are still looking for him. But you got to ask yourself, would you rather find a turd in the pool or a 10-foot crocodile? Because a 10-foot crocodile is what one South African family discovered in their pool, but that's better than the eastern brown snake, one of the world's most venomous, that an Australian family found and their pool. We're talking about water today, and sometimes the surprises you find with water. It can be your bath, the shower, an ocean, lake, pond, a river, a puddle, a glass, a bottle, a cup. Today, we just want to know, for better or worse, what was in the water?
Be part of the big show. Call 206-421-ROCK. Like the Men's Room on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Men's Room Live. And send those emails to the Men's Room at KISW.com.
New on Curiosity Stream.
Just because it hasn't been done before doesn't mean you can't.
Watch Earth's greatest minds forge our path to a better tomorrow. It's engineering the future. And Jaws, Star Wars, The Godfather, E.T. The biggest movies have even bigger music. From King Kong to The Dark Knight. See how musicians scored Hollywood's greatest hits on great film composers' music of the movies. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
Hey, all of y'all, thank you so much for listening to the Men's Room podcast.
And thanks to our pals at the Advocates Law Firm for being great partners. Yes, even you, creepy Kyle.
Seriously, though, if you'd been injured as a result of somebody else in your car, on your bike, walking across the street, talk to our friends at the Advocates Law Firm and let them help you out.
Yeah, they're the best injury lawyers around, and they want to make sure that you're not taken advantage of. Plus, your first consultation is free.
It's simple. You get injured, the advocates get results. Contact them today at advocateslaw.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
The debauchery rolls on. You're listening to The Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
All the shows, and away we go. Welcome to Season 16, Episode number 3422. What a large and a charged program we have for you today. Guaranteed future repeat. Once again, the exciting return of Who Sucks Less. Stevie bring us 3 stories from the news each and every week. They all kind of suck. We just got to figure out of the 3 stories, which one sucks the least. What are we looking at this week?
This week, I feel like everyone's story's a little more different than it's been in the past weeks, but they all suck, man.
Okay.
And again, it's just a matter of you should know better than this. Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
Who Sucks Less is on the way. And our question today, we're going to talk about what was in the water. We actually had a story yesterday that we found somewhat interesting, dealing with the coastline in Israel, and about 120 miles of their beaches down there are covered in tar because of a massive oil spill. Obviously, there are cleanup crews there, environmental groups trying to take care of the animals and anything else and get rid of all the tar and the crap that's washing up on the beaches. They're trying to save a bunch of the turtles.
Yeah.
And one thing they found is they can scrub these things down and get them all cleaned up on the outside and get all the tar and everything off of them. Basically, they use Dawn dishwashing soap to do that.
Comes in handy, man.
But the problem is a lot of these turtles, they actually had swallowed a lot of the oil and a lot of the tar. So how did they get that out of them? They made them eat mayonnaise. And apparently turtles, if they eat mayonnaise, they will, within 10 days, will completely clear out their system, and they can be reintroduced back into the wild.
Who knew?
Right, exactly. So we have some tar in the water in the Mediterranean.
Mm-hmm.
Thus having the turtles eat mayonnaise. Then we have the story of a U.S. woman. She was playing fetch with her dog in the ocean when a bull shark emerged from nowhere and tore through the dog's leg.
Like how she says from nowhere. It's the ocean.
This is Florida. So what do you think the 2-year-old pooch was named?
Does it say how old the woman is who owns the dog?
Her owner is named Anna Manna.
Anna Manna?
Anna Manna.
Jesus.
Jameson?
The 2-year-old pooch named Booby.
Booby.
Had rushed into the water near Virginia Key in Florida while her owner and a friend watched on shore. Traumatized, Anna Manna told a local news station that she was confronted by a pool of blood in the water after the sudden attack. I really thought he was going to die there in my arms. A lot of blood in the water. It was like a trail of blood. She was screaming in so much pain. A quick-thinking friend grabbed a towel out of instinct and wrapped the injured animal up tightly. I thought we lost the dog at that moment. Booby was then rushed to Miami veterinary specialist in Southwest Dade. Booby? She underwent emergency surgery to completely rebuild her leg. It opened at the knee. Her muscles are torn apart. Tendons, arteries, everything was just chewed by the shark. They basically had to rebuild her leg because the shark did get through the joint.
Yeah, it's a bull shark. I want to say they have the biggest bite of all sharks out there.
I just want, I don't know if you've been to the vet lately. But I can't imagine that this was a cheap surgery.
Oh, there's no way it's
to
cheap.
get that leg built back like that. You got to remember, I mean, that's most of the time you don't have pet insurance.
No.
You should always have pet insurance, but most of the time people don't.
Do you have pet insurance? I do not have pet insurance.
I did not get it on Dr. Gomez. But, Gomez was already there. Like if they had like the pre-existing condition stuff.
He had them all.
He'd already been run over by a car. His hip was broken in like 3 places. His legs were broken. He was knocked unconscious and the car blinded him. Like there was nothing right about it. Like I didn't have to worry about his eyes because he couldn't see. I didn't have to worry about his hearing.
Nothing worse than shopping.
Miles stole him out of the truck at Pet Solutions.
Clearly. He was hit up in Mukilteo. But he was just so happy to get out of that rain cloud that I took him down here to Seattle so he didn't have to get rained on all the time. So he was decent for a while. But for
a while.
Yeah, exactly. Then he lost his mind. We go to Italy, an unimaginable
who would want to live in Mukilteo and look at the water?
Yeah, exactly. Rains all the time. It's like it's raining right now. It could be sunny and 85 downtown. It's raining in Mukilteo. I'm telling you that right now. We go to Italy for an unimaginable catastrophe that has befallen a town near Genoa, Italy. Hundreds of coffins that long rested on a seaside cemetery hillside fell some 160 feet toward the Mediterranean Sea. This happened on Monday. CNN said that as many as 200 coffins were swept up by the landslide, and only a handful have been recovered, with some in the sea and others buried under rocks and debris. Regional officials said that this is going to depend on the sea in the coming days to figure out what is in there. The Independent has a quote from a woman who spoke to local media and fears that her father's ashes are forever lost. My legs are shaking. It's like he's dead again. The cemetery is completely gone. Just think of a hillside taken off here.
Except it's full of corpses.
And it's a landslide. But this was an entire cemetery that went down the hill.
That is...
So they're trying to recover as many of the bodies as possible. I'm not trying to be cold, but I think once you get the ashes, it's pretty well done. Like, it's going to take you a little bit of time. But I mean, like, if her father passed like 4 or 5 years ago, right? He's not around anymore. I'm sorry the ashes slid into the Mediterranean.
Right, but I mean, there's real no harm, no foul.
I mean, he was always maybe in your mind looking over the beautiful Mediterranean on his favorite hillside.
Well, he's closer now.
But the bottom line is he's just swimming in it now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not like some, I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure some of the ashes were even spread into the Mediterranean.
I don't think they're all one place, right?
Exactly. No, they are definitely.
He's a lot of places right
spread
now.
all over the place. So our question today, we're talking about water. It comes in all forms and fashions. But what was in the water? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Jailer. Welcome to the men's room.
Happy Chinooka.
Happy Chinooka.
Hola.
Chinooka. All right, so as far as what was in the water, when I just moved out, I was like 19 years old. I moved into what was basically just a frat house. It was me and a couple buddies, and it was just partying, and parts of the house weren't even finished being built. But, I mean, when you're 19 and drinking Natty Ice, you don't care.
No, you don't.
I've seen that movie.
Well, I had seen something about if you bought a Brita filter and you poured crappy vodka in it a few times, then it'll filter out and you'll get, as they would say, Grey Goose. So I went, bought a Brita filter, and I bought a big handle of like plastic of McCormick, delicious vodka. Like if you soaked batteries in water, and I just dumped it through that Brita filter probably 5, 6, 7 times. And it kind of worked as far as I remember, but I didn't let my roommate know. And he woke up one morning thirsty from one of our vendors, and I heard him pull it out of the fridge, and I'm upstairs, and I could have said something, but I didn't, because it's funnier that way. And man, he just started chugging it, and I just hear a spit and a scream, a big mother F, freaking out. He didn't go to work that day because he was trashed by like 8:30.
How much do you think he got down? Probably 4 or 5 shots before he got a taste of it?
So think of like a normal-sized pint glass. He said he got just about to almost the bottom. He's a kind of bigger kid. But yeah, he drank almost the whole thing before spitting the rest out. And he was real drunk.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a 19-year-old, do you call your boss and tell him what happened? Do you say, because you're already probably slurring your words at this point.
Because at that age, that makes sense.
No, I wasn't up all night. I was actually up at 6:30. I got up, I took a shower, I came downstairs, I got a glass of water, and it turned out that my roommate put vodka in the Britter pitcher.
See, but here's the thing. When you're 19, you don't know if you want to share that information. Now that I'm older, if I had a 19-year-old working for me and they told me that, I'd be like, that sounds about right. I'm going to give you the day off. Show up tomorrow, but right. You have roommates, you're 19. I fully expect that.
Britta pitcher is its time has come and gone. Correct. There used to be a time where you go to anybody's house and they'd have one in their refrigerator at all times.
People still have Brittas.
Do they?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the hype has gone away because everyone that wanted one probably has one by now, so you don't hear about it as much. I might try that with the Brita filter. I had not heard that. Ted, you were already nodding your approval leg. Yep, I've heard this.
I've heard this. I would not recommend doing it.
Have you tried it?
Yes.
And it doesn't do anything?
I didn't think so.
But
you're at the age where you're drinking terrible vodka.
Understood.
So when he's like, I could tell a difference, it's like...
Isn't a Brita filter basically the same thing as a charcoal apparatus that would be, say, a filter in your fish tank? I mean, when you're filtering water...
Essentially, that's what it is.
It's basically, it's carbon, it's charcoal.
All right.
So a lot of distilled spirits are filtered through charcoal.
Right.
So Jack Daniels, for example, is filtered through charcoal. But
not a Brita.
No, but it's this huge Brita. That's basically what it is. Like it's the damnedest thing you've ever seen. It looks like just a bunch of lava rocks in this big vat, and the water comes down from a hillside. And then they do all their stuff, but when they filter the actual whiskey, it goes down through. I mean, it looks like a silo. You cannot believe how big this thing is for all the water to get down. Then it's collected in the bottom. I mean, at this point, it's moonshine. And it comes out, and there's a tab on the bottom, and they'll let you have a little sample of this. So what you're tasting is
unaged
Jack Daniels moonshine.
Right.
Because the color comes from the burnt barrels. So when they put it in the barrels, that's where it takes in all the smokiness, the wood flavor, all that stuff. That comes from the barrels. When you actually get Jack Daniels straight from the filter, it is like the smoothest, easiest.
Is it really smooth?
Yeah, because it doesn't have any the sugar in it yet.
Okay.
From the wood and from everything else. You know what I mean? So it's like, this is too easy to drink. It is amazingly smooth.
I mean, could
it's
they
all
legally
charcoal filter?
Could they legally sell that? If they said, look, because they have Angel's Cut or whatever, Devil's Cut, and look, man, we're Jack Daniels. And whether you know this or not, internationally speaking, Jack Daniels kind of set the standard for what good whiskey, premium whiskey is considered. It's like, we're still Jack Daniels. This is before it goes to the barrel. It's moonshine, but it's smooth. I'd buy that.
You can sell it. It just depends on the proof.
Right. Okay.
Right? It can only be over a certain amount. By the way, that guy's talking about cheap vodka. I just Googled, cheap plastic vodka bottles.
Yes.
I feel like I'm going to puke.
Why?
Just looking at these brands, and I'm like, how did we drink so much Pop-Off or Barton or...
I thought Gordon.
Well, it tastes like
Gordon's. I'm fine.
It tastes like rubbing alcohol.
Yeah, I think we used to drink one called Crystal Palace.
Wow, I mean the name tells you this is crap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean price point wise, if you can afford it,
that's why
Tito's is not bad.
Tito's is not bad.
It's not. I mean, it's not the highest dollar vodka out there, but it's American made. It's made in Texas. It's pretty good stuff. It's not crazy.
Yeah. I mean, look, I still drink a lot of Smirnoff. I'm not a vodka snob by any chance. I'm just when you get that plastic handle, under $10 or around $10. There it is, Mike.
Okay.
Crystal Palace. We used to sell that at the one bar we're at in Baltimore.
Well, do you remember when we
cheaply?
Do you remember when we interviewed Dan Aykroyd and he was pimping the Skull?
Crystal
Skull vodka. Now this is a high end vodka that's 9 million times filtered. You remember they said it was filtered and filtered and filtered and filtered. So we got a bottle of that stuff. Bottle's very cool, by the way.
Yeah, I kept the bottle.
The bottles are super cool.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, and I mean, Dan Aykroyd didn't listen, but the vodka kind of sucks for the price.
I thought it was terrible.
I mean, it's maybe that's just the way that a traditional Finland vodka is made. I don't know, but it was just it wasn't. Some vodkas are made of corn, some vodkas are made of all kinds of potatoes, all kinds of different stuff. It just
my thing is don't filter it so much. If by the time you're done filtering, it tastes like this. Maybe leave some impurities in there because it wasn't.
Miles, your favorite new place, man? They got good vodka. Costco.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, but that's a main brand, Steve, right? Isn't Costco vodka? Didn't you say it was a Grey Goose or it was Finlandia?
Maybe. So I did a lot of research on this, and so a lot of the it's not Costco. What do they call it?
Kirkland.
Kirkland
brand.
So a lot of the Kirkland brands are made by the major brands, and it's exactly the same product. The one that they cannot confirm, right? So they confirmed a lot. Like if you thought this was this, you're right. The Grey Goose vodka, that is the heavy rumor, and they, for whatever reason, it just will not be confirmed. I don't know if that's on Costco. I don't know if it's Grey Goose. But of all the products, you can go through and check out all these different products, and you go, oh, hell, I didn't realize so-and-so made this for Kirkland, right? So I can save money, get the exact same thing. But the vodka, people keep saying it's Grey Goose, but Grey Goose isn't saying anything, and Costco's not.
There's a ton.
It's just unconfirmed.
I would put it to you this way. Probably the nicest home I've ever been in. Mm-hmm. This person obviously did very well over their career, this and that. That's like exclusively what he likes.
But Kirkland?
Okay.
The Kirkland.
I would say this. Look, if you like, I'm not a big vodka person. I don't care one way or another, right? But if you do like Grey Goose, and I recognize that Grey Goose is a good vodka, if people can't tell, that even if it's not Grey Goose vodka in the Kirkland brand, if you can't tell, then it's worth buying and saving the money, right? I mean,
yeah.
If you think it's Grey Goose because it's that good, then hell, save the money and buy that stuff.
Look, and you might not get this if you're originally from Seattle. If you're from this area, whatever, this will be like, yeah, whatever, I know that. But if you're not, it comes as a shock. So family comes in from out of town. And, you take them on a ferry ride, you go to Space Needle, you go to EMP, maybe the Hendrix statue or this park or whatever you do, right? All these things are just very, very, very cool. And then you'll drop that nugget, like you'll be going across the bridge, like, oh, yeah, we should stop at Kirkland because it's summer and there's bars out there. And you're like, oh, Kirkland. You're like, yeah, like the brand at Costco because I know Costco's from here. And they're like, you've got to be kidding me.
It is the most amazing piece of trivia.
Their mind.
Oh, my God.
Kirkland, like the toilet paper? That's right. Just like the toilet paper.
That's the place.
I mean, it shocked me
nice
when we moved
town
here.
on Lake Washington.
We all went through, you're telling me that Kirkland is like the Kirkland. And
my garbage bags at that town.
2-bite brownies.
Get the hell out of here,
the
man.
The mini black and white cookies. That Kirkland?
From there? Get out of here.
Love that place.
I'm not kidding you.
I'm not leaving.
It is. I'm serious. Like, they have Kirkland there. It's like where everything's from.
No, the actual Kirkland.
Like the brand.
You think you brought them to Rome when you announced Kirkland. People are blown away.
Exactly. It's crazy. What was in the water? 206-421-ROCK.
New on Curiosity Stream, she was a loving wife, a devoted mother. She also stole atomic secrets and gave them to the Soviets. Meet the woman whose deception kick-started the Cold War on The Spy Who Stole the Atom Bomb. And
what if they catch you?
Then I shall be shot.
They're coming! Come back!
relive history's most death-defying escapes. It's Impossible Escapes, Civil War. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
Oh, drat. I was driving along minding my own business when that vulgar leech hit my Beamer with his pickup truck. I fear I've fractured my clavicle.
I say, old boy, don't simply put it in the hands of your insurance company to sort it out. Talk with the dedicated road solicitors at the Advocates Law Firm.
Pipe down, you old sod. The Advocates will see your case through to the bitter end and won't sleep a fortnight until they have victory in their grasp.
Jolly good, old man. Jolly good indeed. You get injured, the Advocates get results. AdvocatesLaw.com.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
The men's room is in progress. 99.9 KISW and KISW HD1 Seattle.
Family in Mongolia may be on the hook for about $2,400 after their 7-year-old son decided to poop in the pool. The incident is said to have cost the gym in the capital city around $5,000. That figure includes revenue loss from the pool being out of service for 5 days.
5 days?
As well as all the money had to be spent on replacing the 400 cubic meters of pool water, making this a very expensive flush, so to say. Fitness Center's manager, surnamed She, asked the parents of the boy to share the cost. However, the mother and father, they're only willing to pay around $310. Quote from the mom, the gym is mostly responsible for the incident. They can't blame the whole thing on a child. She explained that she left her child at the pool. He felt the need to go to the bathroom, but there wasn't a lifeguard around to help him.
Help him
because
what?
The only lifeguard on duty at the time was reportedly attending an injured child. A video on the internet shows no one near the boy or anyone checking on him after he did the act. She says her son has been traumatized by the situation and cries when people bring up the subject of swimming. Mother is reportedly prepared to take legal action against the pool managers, and it's currently unclear how the matter will be resolved. On a side note, either way, it doesn't look like it looks like it's going to go to court.
Wait, so the mom is blaming the pool. Look, it's not the end of the world one way or another. It's a 7-month-old kid.
7-year-old.
Oh, 7-year-old.
7-year-old kid.
That's a little different, but still, S happens, no pun intended. But I don't feel like you should be mad at the pool. The only reason my kid pooped in your pool is because you had a pool for him to poop in. And actually, I want to talk to Mike, and he's grabbing a call right now. But Mike was a lifeguard, and we'd asked him before about the occasional turd in the water, which I believe he said, look, it happens from time to time because of our kids. I don't know that it takes 5 days to close down, because the way Mike explained it, at least 1 hour, like you got to scoop the turd out.
Well, it depends. So, for an example,
add chlorine. I mean, unless it's diarrhea.
If you have a saltwater pool.
All right.
Okay, you can't just throw chemicals in it. So that's not going to take care of it.
Do you think it's a saltwater pool?
I don't know. You know, it doesn't seem like it would be, but who knows?
Now, Mike, you're a lifeguard.
Correct.
And you had to deal with what? At least once, kid poops in the pool.
There was a couple times.
How long does it take, the process, getting people out, cleaning it up, and then making it safe? Because it was 5 days in this case in China.
It depended on kind of a case-by-case basis, basically, if we could hide it or not. If it was just a single lump, then we could get everybody out, get it out, shock the pool, as it were, throw some dust and acid to make it look like, hey, look, it's sanitary now, and then bring people back in. That was about 30 to 45 minutes, just because it takes forever to get people out of there.
Sure.
You got to deploy the crew, and you got to make a big pomp and circumstance about getting it out of there. If it wasn't a lump, if it was nice and liquid there, shut down the pool. Game over.
Right. But how long before you could reopen?
For the day. We were done for the day.
Yeah.
Unless it was early enough that we would just open again at night, but we were done.
Well, keep in mind, people pee in the pool all the time. You just have to know when you get in the pool.
That's the difference. You see a turd. I mean, if I had diarrhea, but there was no real material for you to see, in theory, I could blow out a brown cloud. Once it dissipates, if you didn't catch me, you don't know. I sure as hell am not going to tell you. But if you can see the turd, then you have to close the pool.
The swimming lessons instructors had to be in the pool for 4 hours straight as they taught class after class after class. Yeah. Everybody does it.
Old people, young people.
Well, the old people are the first people in the pool.
And you know they're peeing in
they're
there.
the ones in there doing the water yoga at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning.
You know they're peeing in the pool.
Because you walk out on the balcony and you look down and you go, what the hell are they doing down there?
The slow aerobics.
I see old people doing that stuff.
And you know they're peeing. All of them. When I see all the old people in the pool, I'm like, every one of them is peeing in the pool right now.
Mm-hmm. I still assume people pee in pools, unless it's a small pool.
How big?
I mean, you know what pool I'm referencing? In Vegas.
That was a big enough pool.
No, it was not.
No, it's not.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
You're telling me that you guys feel like that pool was too small to pee in?
There was literally a bathroom 30 feet away from that pool.
Right, Miles and I were chugging beers, and even me and him were like, we'll get up and go pee.
I think that's very nice of you guys to do. I'm not that guy. I peed in the pool. Mike peed on me in the pool and didn't tell me at the time.
I didn't pee on you. You walked through my pee.
I feel like Mike broke code.
Wow.
He used to be a lifeguard. He used to protect that pool. Now he's peeing in it.
Mm-hmm. I think he always peed in it. I'm telling you, you see people in the pool, I just assume that they're peeing in the pool. Miles, you tried to get your kids to pee in the pool.
Yes. Yes, I did.
Until she dimed you out.
That was a bigger pool.
That was a bigger pool.
It was a bigger pool.
I got your back on this one.
It was a bigger pool.
I think the pool in Vegas, I feel, is fine peen size. All right. That's my opinion. By the way, speaking of water, the three strangest things I've seen in water. One of them, I knew what it was. I just hated being the person explaining it. And I've said this before. We were working in Baltimore. Miles made a bet that he lost. The bet was that he had to shave his ass. Miles shaves his ass. Well, this is during the show, so we have to go back on the air.
Go Terps.
Now, I don't realize that we thought Miles had discarded the butt hair, but no. He left it in the communal kitchen sink.
I didn't do that.
It was in the Tupperware.
I didn't put it in there.
Butt hair floating in the water, but I'm in the kitchen like getting a soda or something. And two of our coworkers walk in who are completely unaware of anything going on in the show. And what's the old lady's name? The one who found out she died.
Aquila.
And we're not shocked that she died, but Aquila was, hey, baby. Turn around. Oh, what's up, Aquila? And she points in the sink. I hadn't seen it yet, all right? So she's pointing in the sink. She goes, what is that? And the look on her face like she just smoked a turd, right? She's clearly disgusted. So I look in there and I realize there's a square Tupperware container full of water. There's a razor in it, and floating on top of the water like algae is nothing but these long. So I'm like, Aquila, that's, honestly, that's Miles's butt hair. She just looked at me and said, do I want to know why it's in the sink? I said, you don't. You don't. Yeah. And then she left. Yeah. But that was it. So that was a strange one. When I was in New Orleans, most of New Orleans obviously is under sea level. We learned that in 2005, all right? But we had these big torrential rain storms, and all the water ends up pooling in intersections because it has nowhere to go. You're below sea level. No big deal. You're used to it. I leave my apartment, and I realize there's this massive, massive puddle, this four-way intersection on the corner of my street. And as I look at it, there's a dead black cat, slowly swirling in it, all right? In addition to that, there's a used condom swirling with it, which has now kind of attached itself to the cat. And then the worst part, the part that bugged me most, and it's why I do not eat crawdads to this day, just picture this dead cat that's floating with a condom stuck to it, swirling in water, just absolutely covered in crawdads, eating it piece by piece. And I just remember staring at this for like 45 seconds going like, I did not need to see it. And in the middle of the city, man. Yeah. It was there for like 3 days because nobody dealt with it. And so until it evaporated, and I don't know who took off with the animal, but until that puddle finally evaporated, that dead cat just sat there swirling.
Well, look, man, even in Baltimore City, the main area of Baltimore is on the water, like Seattle is, as far as the touristy area and everything else. And there's the inner harbor. It's nice. If you fall in the inner harbor, they come out with the hazmat suits, basically to wash you off and take you away.
They're not kidding.
That's a good call.
They have paddle boats, right? So you get in these paddle with the kids and the family and all this kind of thing, and they're like, do not, and you're trying to convince kids of it. Do not put your hands in the water. Chromium is the main thing in the water, but there's so much that if you get your hand wet, they suggest you go to the doctor. Not like dry it off from it, but you need to go to the hospital because you touch the water that we've built our entire tourist area. Right. My friend used to run the Fluvog for Red Bull, so they go down those big ramps and they, hopefully their flying machines can carry them far, whatever, and they would do it into the harbor. So the guys that do Fluvog, the guys that create these things that they hope to launch off a ramp and fly, their belief, when they do this almost anywhere else in the world, the idea is you get your vehicle back. All right, so
yeah, because you put it's like a soapbox derby, but a car with a kite, right? As you take down a ramp, and it powers itself, just based on gravity,
and you see how far it
takes off off the ramp. And you see how far that thing can fly,
and that's why they always do it over water, right? So they did not tell the Fluvog athletes or whatever you want to call them that wasn't going to happen in Baltimore. They led them to believe that, hey, you're going to jump into the harbor. So we had to confiscate all of their vehicles. They were pissed, and because they're now contaminated with chromium. And then the guys that were actually on it are like, well, what about us? You need to go to the hospital. Mm-hmm. And she said we didn't tell them in advance because there's no chance they would have done it in Baltimore if they had known. But the last thing I saw, this was, I just moved out of my parents' house, and there was this chick named Lily. And we knew Lily. She lived about 2 blocks away. We'd hang out with her every once in a while. But we'd go to her place, and I remember sitting in her living room, and on the mantle of her fireplace, there's a jar, and there's just something floating in it. I cannot tell what it is. We're there for like an hour and a half. So before we decide to go our separate ways, I'm like, hey, Lily, just one quick question, man. I've been staring at this thing on your fireplace. What the hell is in that jar of water? Oh, that's my cat's uterus.
Oh, God.
That was pretty much my response. Just like, wait, what? She's like, yeah, she got her fixed or whatever the hell it was. And I'm like, and you kept it? She's like, well, my dad's the vet, so he let me keep it. And it was just sitting in the water, just slowly disintegrating. So I've seen a disintegrating cat's uterus, and I wish I'd never had.
What was in the water? 206-421-ROCK.
Hello, Paula. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Hola.
I was walking down the beach in Honduras, and there was a tide pool with a big, those bullheads that you sometimes see in tide pools at the beach, or they're sculpins. It was a really big sculpin-looking fish.
Hold on, let me Google this. Sculpin. I'm sure I've seen it. I just need to know.
It's also a beer.
Yeah, that's probably why it sounds familiar.
It is. I think it's a little
an excellent
citrusy.
Beer.
Yeah,
And
it's delicious.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm looking at the fish.
Yeah,
Sure.
Grandma Bella's point.
Yeah. And so, it had all its fins down and everything. It was a shallow tide pool. And I felt compelled to try to touch the fish.
Why? It looks like a fish that does not want to be touched.
Well, I know that, but, it was just kind of a compulsion.
All right.
And that little voice that tells you not to do really stupid stuff said, don't touch the fish. And I was like, but I want to touch the fish. And I kind of went back and forth, standing there, and I ended up not touching the fish. And then the next day in my diving class, I saw a picture of the fish in the book, and it was the less colorful version of the lion.
Yeah, it looks like one of those poisonous fishes.
Yeah,
Tiger.
it was a scorpion fish. It was basically, it looks like a lionfish or a tiger fish, those ones that are, deadly.
So what happens when you touch the Honduras lionfish sculpin thing?
I think you're either really, if it stings you, I don't know, or pokes you, the venom, I think, is in maybe the fins, the spines and the fins.
Yeah, they are. Mm-hmm.
And so I think for sure you're going to be in a lot of pain. And then I was in Honduras, which probably meant that I was going to die. They probably would have had to fly me out to Miami or something.
Oh, no, you'd have died. They're just telling you they're going to fly you to Miami. Sure. They're like, just wait 20 minutes.
Eventually we'll get there. Yeah.
They probably just pushed me out of the helicopter into the Atlantic. But
yeah, there you go. It's the Honduras way.
Oh, man. I had.
I can't believe you wanted to touch that. Everything about that fish, like if you look at it, it's designed to say, "Don't touch me."
I know you got a
You're
fish
right, but
tank.
it's also Paula. I mean, the lady basically has a damn zoo in her backyard.
I know you had a fish tank for a while, but there was about a decade of my life from the time that I was 13 years old to maybe 23 years old where a fish tank was my life.
All right.
Like I wasn't really allowed to, I couldn't get another dog after Sunshine left.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Yeah.
It left you.
No cats allowed. So I got a couple fishes, and a few of them lasted for a while, but I had
What's the longest you had a fish? A single fish. How did it survive? Because
you know what? Believe it or not, this is so stupid, but my grandmother, her uncle was Jack Dempsey. And he was he was a fighter back in the 40s and 50s, but he was a heavyweight champion of the world. So he was kind of a big deal being from West Virginia.
Sure.
So they had a fish named after the boxer. Mm-hmm. So the first fish I ever got was a Jack Dempsey, just because I was like, yeah, man.
I mean, I would do the same thing.
Right. That's what I did. So I had a couple Jack Dempseys. Then when I went to college, I got a couple Oscars. And I got those when I was a freshman in college. Oscars can get pretty big. I got a pair of them. And they're very friendly, and they come up to you when you walk in the room, and they're all excited to see you, and they just want fed.
Of course.
Like any other fish does. But then on one day I noticed that there were eggs in the tank. And I'm like, I'm going to have baby Oscars. This is crazy. So time goes by. The eggs just kind of slowly disappear.
Okay.
So I'm like, well, I guess the fish ate the eggs. It's what they do and all that stuff. So, but then like weeks go by, and then a month goes by. And I typically clean my fish tank once every couple months or whatever. But the smell coming out of my fish tank was unbelievable. And I kept changing the water. I'd go in, I'd take half the water out, put more water in, do all this stuff. I could not get rid of the smell. So now I'm like, what in the hell's going on? I got to go through a full-blown thing here. I need to figure out a way to put these Oscars in the sink for a little bit. I need to dump this entire tank out. I need to figure out what's going on. There is a grate that's about an inch where the filtration system happens in a fish tank. There are like two big blocks that you put down.
Yeah.
And then you put in the tubing on the sides where the bubbles come through, and it filters below that, up through the rocks and all that stuff. I opened up this grate. There are about 30 Oscars that are an inch long. The eggs had been sucked through the filter. There was enough food in the bottom for the fish to survive for however long they could. Then they all started to slowly die off. So when I opened that thing up, it was like 20 dead Oscar babies.
They all got sucked into the filter?
The eggs did. So when the eggs went down, they hatched, but they hatched underneath the grate.
Oh, God.
So when I picked the damn thing up, I'm like, oh, my God. It looked like, it was like...
That sounds gross,
man. It was like, yeah, it was insane. It was like... I killed them all.
Did you keep the other Oscars?
Yeah, they were fine. I put them back in
traumatized.
The yeah,
I'm
sure.
Yeah, they had that PTSD. Like, dude, we're in a graveyard
because their babies are sitting there crying up at them the whole time, and they can't do anything about it. You know what I mean?
What was in the water? 206-421-ROCK.
Well, when you paint the picture like that.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
Yeah, I mean,
help me, Dad. Help me. I'm down here.
Sounds like you're torturing these poor fish.
I heard my children screaming.
Right below you can't do anything.
Hello, Nate. Welcome to the men's room.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hola.
This is actually my mom's story. Years ago, she was water skiing.
Oh, Nate, you're going to have to start from the beginning there, man. Your phone's breaking up on us. And he's gone.
Something about his mom water skiing.
We got that far. I know that much.
Wonder if she ended up in a puddle.
Maybe that's the whole story. My mom went water skiing. Out.
She ended up in the water.
Oh, yeah, water skiing. She was already on the water.
Hello, Justin. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, gentlemen.
Hola.
So I was at Cub Scout camp, and it was swimming day, so we all went down to the lake. Well, breakfast bowl wasn't really filling with me too well, so I swam over to the dock, dropped my pants, and took a big old turd.
You just cut loose?
Oh, yeah, not gonna lie, if you've never pooped in the water, it is the most comfortable turd you'll ever have in your life.
What, to go number 2 in the water, you said it was a comfortable experience?
Oh, yeah, no, it's just, like, it really takes a while to, like take a crap, but that one was literally flying right out the back. I was like, oh, done, cool.
I don't know if I could do that.
Really?
Poop in the water? I'm floating in the water. Now I got to take a poop. I mean, I'd have to anchor. Like my feet would need to be
I could poop in now. To be clear, I would not poop in the pool. But if I'm in the ocean, like
I've already thought about this with space.
What?
Just how hard it would be to poop. First of all, gravity doesn't take care of your food, right?
No,
as far as the
pools in the middle,
you know what I mean. So okay, you're floating, but the bottom line is like you got your feet on the ground for a reason.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like you're.
Could you flip upside down?
You're locked in there.
You can go. The beauty of space,
but water's
you
kinda
can do it
similar.
sideways.
Yeah.
You can be upside down. It's all the same. I think when astronauts poop, at least on the space station, this is stupid. Aside from the fact that they have a bag and all this, like you say, the challenge is getting your poop in the bag because it's zero gravity. It doesn't just drop down. Whatever direction you send it is the direction it's going to go until it is caught. So you have to make sure the bag's lined up. I believe they use Velcro. So either you Velcro your feet or there's but think about this. There's an engineer at NASA who had to come up with, hey man, how do they poop safely in space without hitting each other with turds?
Same thing with floating in water. Like, I mean, it's not gravityless, but I mean, it's as close as you're going to get. So it's like,
but I mean, you've seen different poops in the toilet. Sometimes they float, sometimes they sink. You don't know. That's my only thing. If I knew it was going to sink, no problem. If you have a floater to do it, your buddies would be
what do you think that
why
is?
did a turd just pop up?
Why does
you?
one sink and one float?
I don't know.
A lot of times it's just salt.
Really?
You got too much salt in your diet, it'll float.
Huh?
Really?
Yeah.
I just learned something new today.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'll be damned.
Huh. I feel smarter. Show over.
I thought everybody knew that.
Dr. Smith is out.
I had no idea.
Hell with the WebMD. What was in the water? 206-421-ROCK.